Good afternoon, everybody. So we are discussing merge sort, right? In divide and conquer. So we have discussed the algorithm for merge sort. We have discussed the recurrence relation, and we analyzed it. The time complexity of merge sort is n log n. That is best case, worst case, average case. Why? Because there is no. We are not considering the order of the elements. Initially, what is the order of the elements? Irrespective of the order of the elements, we are doing the entire process in merge sort. That's why best case, worst case, average case is theta of n log n, right? And now, for example, I have 10 elements. I have 10 elements like this. The algorithm that we have written yesterday, if we follow that algorithm, we will divide that into two equal halves so that we have 5 elements here, 5 here. Correct? And this 5, we will divide that into 2, 3 or 3, 2. Okay? And this 3, we will divide this into 2, 1. And then this 2 becomes 1, 1. Then we will merge these two and this will be merged with this one so that we get the sorted list of 3 elements. This is the order that we follow based on the algorithm that we have written yesterday, because we have exactly divided into two equal halves. Today we will see what is two-way merging. Two-way merging is like this. Even if we have 10 elements, like this, okay, anyway we are dividing that into pieces. Finally our intention is to get one element, correct? We are considering only one element array, then we started merging. So division is nothing but making it into pieces so that we get one element each. Instead of dividing that and making it into pieces, we are going from the starting onwards. Anyway, this single element is sorted, this single element is sorted. We know that individually they are sorted. Okay. Now the two side by side elements will be merged into one simple array, and of course it is done here itself. Then these two, the side by side two elements, these two are merged, and then these two are merged, these two are merged, these two are merged. So after the first iteration of merge sort, every two consecutive elements will be in sorted order. Even if you have 10 elements, okay, every two consecutive elements, which means there are 5 sets, okay, which are already sorted order. This is the first iteration result. But this wouldn't have been the result if we follow yesterday's algorithm. We have divided it into 5, right? 5 elements. So that 5 would have been made into 3, 2. That 3 becomes 2, 1. The 2 becomes 1, 1. Merge 1, 1. So that you will get a sorted list of 2. Then that is merged with 1. Correct? So you will get 3 elements merged list in yesterday's logic. But in two-way merging, we consider this one is a sorted array, this one is a sorted array. So I merge them into a sorted array. In the yesterday's algorithm also, there is no time for division. Time taken for division is 0. So even today there is no division. The side by side elements are merged. Yes, that will take time, like yesterday. Okay, even these two merge. So this is first iteration result. And in the second iteration result, now these two are merged. So there are 4 elements. These two are merged. 4 elements. These two are as it is, because for that there is no another 2 elements list. So second iteration result will be every 4 consecutive elements are in sorted order. After first iteration, every 2 consecutive elements are in sorted order. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Second iteration, every 4 elements. 4, 4. Here it is only 2 because I have taken 10 elements. After third iteration, these two are merged so that first 8 elements are in sorted order. Next 8 elements, but there are no 8 elements. That's why it is 2 only here. And then in the fourth iteration, these two are merged. Then we'll get 10 elements sorted out. This is two-way merging. Time complexity of both algorithms is same. The way that we did is slightly different. There we have exactly made that into two equal halves and proceeded. Division didn't take time as today. Even today, we assume that it is already divided into single pieces and then we started merging. But merging is every 2 consecutive elements is the first iteration. Every 4 consecutive elements is the next iteration. Every 8 consecutive elements is the next iteration. We proceeded like that. Okay. So the questions will be like this on two-way matching. They will give you an array. What is the result of this array after the third iteration if you follow two-way matching? So you should know in third iteration every eight consecutive elements will be in sorted order. So first 8 elements you just sort. Remaining you just sort. That's all. If it is second iteration, first 4 are sorted, next 4 are sorted, next 4. If there are not 4, only 2. Okay, only 2 are sorted. Like that we give the answer. Okay, this is two-way matching. And optimal merging pattern. Optimal merging pattern. What is this merging pattern is like this. See, I have a list or array of elements which are already in sorted order, but the number of elements in this are 15, for example. Also, I have one more list or array of elements, and the number of elements are 5, which are already in sorted order. Next array has 10 elements which are already in sorted order. Let me make it as some 17 just to make a difference. And then I have one more file which has number of elements as 8. Okay. So we have 4 files or 4 arrays which are already in sorted order. Now we want to merge all these files into one single sorted file by using merge sort. Okay, but you should obviously you just have to merge them because they are already in sorted order. You just have to merge them. Okay. If we have to do this efficiently, what is the optimal way of merging? But merging can be done only 2 files at a time, only 2 arrays at a time. Either you can merge these 2 first and that is merged with one more and that is merged with one more. This is the only option you have. You cannot merge all the 4 into one at a time. That is not the logic. Okay, you have to pick up only 2 files or 2 arrays at a time. Okay, and you proceed like that. Finally, you should give me only one single file which has all these elements in sorted order. That is the requirement. What is the optimal way of merging? Which 2 arrays or which 2 files should I pick up first? Should I take these 2 first, these 2 first, these 2 first? What is the optimal way of merging? Optimal way of merging is always you should pick up the least 2 files. Here 5 and 8. These are the 2 least. The count should be less. Okay, the number of records in them should be less. You should pick up those 2 files first and then merge them. When you merge them, what are the number of elements in this merged file? Obviously 5 plus 8, 13 records will be there here. 13 numbers will be there after merging, which is in sorted order. Okay. So now you ignore this and you ignore this because you have already merged them. Now you have only 3 files, 15, 13, 17. Next one, next 2 least files. Next 2 least, 13 and 15. Okay, then you merge these 2. So that the number of records are 28. Now you ignore this and ignore this. You have a file which has 28 numbers which are already in sorted order. Now you have only 2 files, these 2, you merge these 2. Finally you will get the file which has all the numbers and they are in ascending order. So this is optimal way of merging. So the questions will be like this. If you follow optimal merging pattern for these files with these many number of records, what are the maximum number of comparisons or what are the minimum number of comparisons that you will do in the entire process? If you are asked to follow optimal way of merging, which 2 files you should pick up? Always the least 2, okay, which has less number of records. Only those 2 you should pick up and continue this process until you get the final file, final array. Okay. So in this process, every time you need to calculate what are the maximum number of comparisons. If the question is about maximum number of comparisons, you need to do that. Okay, tell me, if I have an array of m elements here, array of n elements here, both are sorted. Now I want to merge them into one single file, merging, so that the number of records will be m plus n in that. What are the worst case number of comparisons? The maximum number of comparisons yesterday we discussed. If you are merging these two files into one single array or file, number of records will be this, but the worst case number of comparisons are m plus n minus 1. Minimum number of comparisons are minimum of m comma n. Yesterday we discussed, correct? So the question is about maximum number of or worst case number of comparisons. So we will consider this formula. In each and every merging, you will consider the worst case number of comparisons and finally sum up one. That's all. This is how we do. Okay. So this is optimal merging pattern. So now these 2 points. While merging, worst case number of comparisons, best case number of comparisons. And that is optimal merging pattern. So that is about merge sort. Okay. Now we will see quick sort. The last topic of divide and conquer. Oh, what is quick sort logic? Let me write some numbers. First I will explain the logic, then we will write the algorithm. Okay. So I have taken these numbers. Now our aim is to sort all these elements. Okay. Quick sort logic is like this. We will pick up any one among them as a pivot element. Okay. For now, I will consider the very first element as a pivot element. Pivot. Okay, pivot element. So our aim is to move this pivot element into its right place. Into its right place. Okay, move the pivot element into its right place. What is the meaning of right place? Its place where it will be in the sorted order. If I write all these elements in sorted order, there is a place for this pivot element to, obviously it should sit here. So after the first iteration of quick sort, it should go and sit in its right place. The right place is like this. If it goes and sits in its right place, all the elements on its left hand side will be smaller than that element. All the elements on its right hand side will be greater than that element, greater than that pivot. Then it has sit in its right place. That is the meaning. Okay. So the element that you picked up, pivot, it should go and occupy its right place so that all the elements on the left hand side are smaller than that. All the elements on the right hand side are greater than that. That's all. So that element is sorted order. It is in its right place. So that element is finished. Once it goes and sits in its right place, now you have this array and this array. Now you need to do quick sort on this part and this part, both. This is already done, so you don't have to touch it. Now your work is before that and after that. So I will take this array and follow the quick sort on that. I will take this array and follow quick sort on that. Similar to merge sort. In merge sort, we have divided that into two equal halves. Write merge sort on first half and second half. Similarly, first pivot element should go and occupy its right place so that I will follow quick sort on first part and second part. Okay. Now, how should it go and sit in its right place is the first logic. This is how we do. If I select this one as a pivot, the very next element, I will call that as a, not the element, its index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one index is up. A of up is 7. So element is A of up. Up is just the index. Similarly down. Down always starts at the end. This is down. Down is 7 index. A of down is element 6. Is that okay? Array name is A. Now the logic that we follow is I will compare the pivot element and A of up. A of up means the element. Okay. As long as the element is less than or equal to pivot, up will be increasing. A of up, if it is less than or equal to pivot, up will be increasing. But is A of up less than or equal to pivot now? Now it is not. Okay, then you stop. Then similarly come to down. A of down. A of down. If it is greater than pivot, down should be reduced. A of down is 6. That is greater than pivot element. Yes, then down should be reduced. Similar. Next, continue the same process. A of down is greater than pivot. Yes. Reduce down. A of down is greater than pivot. Yes. A of down is greater than pivot. Yes. A of down is greater than pivot. Yes. A of down is not greater than pivot. Now you stop. Now let me check up and down. Up started here, down started here. And they have moved like this. Still up is less than down. Up means 1, down is 2. Still up is less than down. Then you need to swap the two elements. You need to swap the two elements of up and down. So that 1 will be here, 7 will be here. Swap. And you continue the same process. Same process of what you have done just now. Up element is less than or equal to pivot. Yes. Then you increment up. Up element is not less than or equal to pivot. So stop. Now coming to down. Down element is greater than pivot. Yes. Then reduce down. Now we should stop because till now up and down are like this. But when up and down have become like this, you should stop the process. Which means as long as up is less than or equal to down, you should continue the process of comparison. But once they became like this, which means you compared with all the elements. Pivot element is compared with all the elements. That's why up and down are like this now. Now you stop. Down. Down position is the right position for pivot. So pivot element and down element must be swapped. Pivot element and down element must be swapped. So 1 will come here, 2 is here. Remaining all, there is no disturbance. Now 2 has occupied its right place. If you observe, all the elements on the left hand side of 2 are smaller than that. All the right hand side are greater than 2. Yes, that's all. So 2 is in its right place. Now this 2 has divided this total array into two parts. This is one part, this is second part. This is first array, this is second array. Now you should follow quick sort on this part and this part. Here there is only one element, so you can ignore it. Now here, quick sort on this. Now this becomes the pivot element, first element. This becomes up, this becomes down. Continue the process. Up element is less than or equal to pivot. Up element is less than or equal to pivot. Up element is less than or equal to pivot. Up element is not less than or equal to pivot, so stop. Down element is greater than pivot? No, so stop. Swap up and down. So 6 comes here, 8 comes here. Again continue the same process. Up element is less than or equal to pivot? Yes. Increment up. Up element is not less than or equal to pivot, so stop. Down element is greater than pivot? Yes. Up and down are like this, so stop. Down position is the right position for pivot. So swap down element and pivot element. So 6 will come here, 7 will come here, remaining all are as it is. So 7 is in its right place. If you observe, all the elements before 7 are in sorted order, or less than 7. On the right hand side are greater than 7. So done. Now this 7 has divided the array into two parts, this part and this part. Apply quick sort on both the arrays so that even they get arranged slowly, one after the other. This is the logic of quick sort. So in quick sort, what we are doing is we are picking up one element as a pivot element. Indirectly, we are comparing with each and every element of the remaining array and finding a place for the pivot element. Once you keep that, all the elements on the left hand side are smaller than that, all the elements on the right hand side are greater than that pivot, which means pivot is in its right place. Now you should apply quick sort on the first part also and second part also. That's all. Okay. So this is the algorithm. Now we will write. sort low high. If low is less than high, which means there should be at least two elements, then only there is a need for sorting. If there is only one, then also it's not needed. That's why. Only if low is less than high, low is lower index of the array, high is higher index of the array. Only then I need to do something. Otherwise, no, it is already inserted. Okay, so first thing, I need to take a pivot and then put it in its right place. All this is done by a function called partition function. Partition function, for which I am passing low, high, lower index and higher index, and that will return me an integer. What is that integer? The position where the pivot element go and occupy its place, and that is the right place for that pivot. And that position I want because before that is one array, after that is one array. That's why I want that position. So this function will return me partition position. Partition position. Okay. Now, once I get this partition position, up to that is one part. Up to from there onwards is the second half. I will write quicksort on both of them. So apply quicksort on the first part also, that is from low to partition position -1. Also quicksort from partition position +1 to high. See, this is the array. Partition function has given me this position, which means the pivot element has occupied this place. So it is already in sorted order. I will not disturb that. Up to this low to position -1 is one part. Position +1 to high is another part. Quicksort on this piece, quicksort on this piece. That's what I have done. Okay. That's all. This is quicksort algorithm. Now we need to write the algorithm for partition function. Partition function returns an integer for which we have passed low and high. Oh, I need a pivot element. So pivot element is nothing but pivot element. Element is A of low, the first element. A of low. Similarly, up and down, I need up, which is a position, also down, a position. But how do I initialize? Up is nothing but low +1. Okay, first element is pivot. From the very next position, I need to take up. So low +1. Similarly, down is high, the last one. So from there it will reduce. Up will be incrementing, down will be decrementing. So up started just after the low, down started from high. Both will be moving like this. But for how long? As long as up is less than or equal to down, the procedure will continue. So while up is less than or equal to down, you need to do a process. But when up and down have become like this, that's when I will stop. Okay, which means up is greater than down. That's when I will stop. Okay, what are we doing? We are just doing a comparison. Moving up. For how long? While A of up is less than or equal to pivot element, as long as this is true, up will be incrementing only. Up will stop only when A of up is greater than pivot. Similarly, down should reduce. Okay, while A of down is greater than pivot, keep on reducing down. Down minus. So up is increasing, down is reducing. But they have stopped like this. Then you need to swap the two elements and then continue this process until it becomes like this. So I need to check if up and down are stopped moving. Then I need to check if up is less than down. If up is less than down, then you swap the elements of up and down using a temporary t. Okay, t equal to a of up, a of up equal to a of down, a of down equal to t. So swapping is done. And again we will continue the process, which means by seeing this closing bracket, because up is less than or equal to down, again this continue. It will stop only when the elements are like this. When up is greater than down, I will stop. Once that is done, down position is the right position for pivot. So you start down element and pivot element. Okay. So already you kept A of low into pivot. Low is the position. Okay. Into pivot. So into A of low, I will keep A of down element. And in A of down, I will keep pivot element. Finally, return down, because that is the right place for pivot. Return down. And that we are capturing it into partition position. Whatever we are returning, the right place of pivot. Pivot has gone and occupied that place. That place is returned. That index is returned. This is quicksort logic. Closing bracket of this is here, and function closing bracket is this one. Now we will analyze this quicksort. This is quicksort algorithm. There are two calls, but then we don't know that they are equal number of elements or not on both the sides. There is no guarantee. In the previous example that we have seen, the pivot element occupied the second place. So the first array has only elements, only one element, but second array has so many elements. So there is no guarantee that these two calls are on exact two halves. Okay. Analysis of quicksort. Okay. See, for example, the array is like this, unsorted array. So the pivot element that I picked up has gone and occupied exactly the middle place. For example, luckily it has gone to the exact middle place, so that this entire array is divided into two equal halves like this. Two equal halves, n by 2, approximately n by 2, n by 2. Okay, so quicksort on this half and quicksort on that half. So if I have to write the recurrence relation, how does it look? The time taken by quicksort when the input size is n is, there are two quicksort calls. So it is two times t of, what is the first part? If at all the pivot occupied the exact middle place, this one is one half, the other one is also one half. So quicksort on the first half plus quicksort on the second half. So 2 times t of n by 2 plus The time taken for division, the partition function. What is the time taken by the partition function? What we have done there? We have picked up the first element as pivot element and compared that with all other elements. Indirectly we have done with up and down also by some logic. But what we have done actually there is we have compared that pivot element with all other n minus 1 elements. So the time taken is obviously some constant into n, no doubt, because you have done n minus 1 comparisons. Okay, so this would be the recurrence relation if the pivot element will go and occupy exact middle place, and this is called best case. This is best case, and best case occurs, when does it occur? It occurs when pivot element occupies exact middle place or almost middle place. Okay, so this is best case. In that case only best case occurs, and this will be the recurrence relation. Questions can be on the time complexity or on the recurrence relation. Okay, so because it is two equal halves, it is 2 times t of n by 2. This is similar to Weierstrass recurrence relation, correct? Okay, what is the time complexity? A is 2, B is 2, D is 1. A equal to B power D case. So T of n is equal to, we are talking about best case, that's why. Omega of n power D into log n, which is D is 1, that's why it is n log n. Best case is represented with big omega. So the best case time complexity of quicksort is n log n. And this occurs when the pivot that you have selected will go and occupy almost middle place by dividing the array into two almost equal halves. Okay. How about worst case? And when does it occur? For example, the array that I have taken is like this. The array is like this, and the pivot element that I have selected is the first element. And after the partition function execution, of course, partition function will take n time, like this. Okay, but after completion of that, pivot element will occupy the extreme place, right? After comparing with all the elements, one will sit here itself. By dividing the whole array into two parts, one part has 0 elements, the other part has n minus 1 elements. So you will run a quicksort on this part. The first one is a t of 0, you can ignore. But the second one has t of n minus 1 elements. So quicksort is executed on n minus 1 elements. So if I have to write a recurrence relation, time taken by a quicksort when n is passed, when n number of elements is passed, time taken by partition function is anyway n, because you will compare this with all other elements to find its right place, you will do that. But once that is done, you came to know that pivot occupied one of the extreme places, either this extreme or that extreme. So that one array is size 0, the other array is n minus 1 size. Time taken by this 0 is anyway, ignore. Okay, so the recurrence relation will look like this, t of n minus 1 plus n. This is decrease and conquer case. In decrease and conquer case, a value is 1. It's not divide and conquer, it is decrease and conquer. A equal to 1. So t of n is equal to big O of n power d plus 1. N power d plus 1. Here d is 1, that's why it is big O of n square. So the worst case time complexity of quicksort is n square. And when does it occur? Whenever your pivot element will occupy one of the extreme positions in the array. It is not going to the exact middle place or by dividing the array into two equal halves. It is going to the extreme position of this side or that side by dividing the array into two parts. One part is 0 elements, the other one has n minus 1 elements, like this. And this is worst case. And when does worst case occur in quicksort is when the array is already in sorted order or even the reverse sorted order. If the array is 5, 2, 1. Even in this case, I will select 5 as a pivot element. But after doing a comparison with all the other 4 elements, this will go and occupy this extreme position. 5 will occupy this extreme place. So the remaining array is again n minus 1 elements. So the recurrence relation will be T of n minus 1 plus C into n. So whether the array is already in sorted order or in reverse sorted order, in both the cases quicksort is worst case. The number of comparisons needed in this case is same as the number of comparisons needed in this case. Instead of having either sorted or reverse sorted, it is better to have a zigzag order. That is almost like an average case. Okay, but these two are worst cases. Best case is every time the pivot should occupy exactly middle place. You should know the recurrence relation also and time complexity also. Worst case and best case. So any zigzag order, the time taken depends on, obviously it is between n log n and n square. Because best is n log n, minimum you need this much time. Worst is n square. So average case, any zigzag order lies between these two. So, in quicksort, what we understand is, if the pivot is occupying the middle place, it is leading to best case. But if it is going to the extreme, it is leading to worst case. So the final result depends on where the pivot is going to sit. Okay, which means how you are picking up that pivot is actually matters. What pivot element that you are picking up matters, because it is affecting the performance. Okay. Till now, what we have seen is first element as a pivot element. I have picked up the first element as a pivot. If it sits in the extreme, it is leading to worst case. If it goes to the middle, it is leading to best case. See, there is no guarantee that what I have picked up the first element as a pivot. It can sit in the middle also, it can go to the extreme also. So I cannot say anything. Okay. If I change the pivot selection, why should I take the first element? I will select the last element as a pivot element. Even then, any guarantee that it will occupy the middle place? Again, it can go to the extreme place, correct? So, okay. Last one is also not the pivot element. I will pick up the middle element. In the unsorted array, whatever is present in the middle, that I will pick up as a pivot element. Even then, for example, 100 elements, 1, 2, 100 is in the middle, remaining all are there. And if I pick up that 100, obviously it will go and sit in the extreme place. That is also a problem. Again, it leads to worst case. So in all these cases, there is no guarantee that the element that you are picking up as a pivot will go and occupy the exact middle place. It can go to the extreme. So worst case in all of them is again n square. So that now they understood that pivot selection matters. How do we select that pivot element? Picking up the first element as a pivot, worst case is n square. Last element as a pivot, worst case is n square. Middle element as a pivot, that is also worst case. Then they said median. Median as a pivot. Median means this is the array. First element, middle element, last element. Take these 3 elements. Sort them. Sort only 3. 3 elements sorting will not take time because it needs only 2 comparisons, fixed amount of comparisons. Middle element. Among those sorted 3 elements, middle element is called median of these 3. Okay. You take that median and that as a pivot element. Median as a pivot element. And then run the quicksort. Even then, any guarantee that median will go and occupy the middle place? No, because for example, this is 23. The total there are 100 elements. Okay. The middle one is let me take 99, and this is 100. For example, now I will take these three elements. First element, middle element, and last element. 23, 99, 100. Sort them. Yes, they are in sorted order. The middle among them is called median of the whole array. Median. Okay. Now if I take this as a pivot and then run quick sort, this 99 will go and occupy the last but one position. 100 is here. It will sit in the last but one position. All elements are here. Isn't the worst case again n square? Because instead of n minus 1, now I have n minus 2 elements. That's all. It is not even 3/4 elements and 1/4 elements. No. It is again worst case. Instead of last position, it is just last but one position. That's all. So it is again leading to n square. Worst case of n square only. Our main aim is to reduce this n square. It should come down near to n square. That is our target. But whatever logic that we follow till now, again and again, every time, worst case is n square only. Okay, worst case is n square only. Okay, so all these logics didn't work. Then they come up with a new approach called median of medians. Let us select median of medians as a pivot element. MM rule. This is called median of medians, which means the total elements, for example, you have 15 elements. All those 15 elements are divided into three groups. First 3 elements, next 3 elements, next 3 elements, next 3 elements, next 3 elements. And then I sort the first 3 elements. It doesn't take time. 3 elements sorting will not take time. Okay. So, for example, the elements are, let me write all the 15 elements. 35, 26, 42, 83, 96, 24, 55, 12, 49, 8, 72, 23, 99, 57. For example. Okay, so all the 15 elements are like this. I have taken three elements as a group. I will sort these 3 elements and I am writing like this. Okay, only these 3. 26, 35, 42. Less than symbols. Okay, from top to bottom. Again, next 3 elements. 24, 83, 96. Next 3. 12, 49, 55. Next 3. 8, 23, 72. Next one. 50, 70, 99. Okay, done. So, every 3 elements as a group. In each group, I have identified a median. Median means the middle element. Middle of these 3. Middle of these 3. Middle of these 3. Okay, middle of these 3. Middle of these 3. Medians. Median of each group. Then, median of medians. Now you consider only the medians and you pick up median of those. Median of medians. So, 35, 83, 49, 23, 70. Median of these medians, which means first you need to sort them. 23, 35, 49, 70, 83. Median among them is 49. Median. All these are medians. Median of those medians is 49. Okay. I will select this 49 as a pivot element. Now you check. Just orally you can verify. Among all these elements, how they are spread. Isn't 49 almost middle? Not exactly, need not be exactly middle. Almost middle place or not? If you observe, if you want, I'll write 49. How many elements on the are smaller than 49? You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 elements, including 49, 8. Okay, greater than 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 this side, 7 that side. 7 elements are less than 49, 7 elements are greater than 49. Not almost, it's exactly in the middle place. So, median of medians, if you select that as a pivot, damn sure it will go to the almost middle place by dividing the array into two equal halves, almost equal halves. So, it is reaching to best case. The time complexity will be n log n. So, selecting this median of medians is important. Median of medians will lead to almost best case. Okay. Of course, this will take time, definitely, but how much time? Sorting three elements will not take time, fixed amount of time. But like that, you have to do for n by 3 groups. If total number of elements are n, for n by 3 groups, you need to do the same thing, which means n by 3. By 3 has no importance, so even this is taking n time. That's okay. Anyway, you are adding for the reconciliation division, you are anyway seeing c into n. Now one more n gets added to it, which means c is increased. That's it. It's not that an extra time is taken. Okay, that c is increased. So it's okay. So the reconciliation is leading to almost best case. Okay, so that is MM rule. Median of medians as a pivot element will lead to the almost best case time complexity. Is that clear? In divide and conquer, most of the gate questions are on Quicksort. And after that, they come up with one more option called randomized quicksort, which means these are the elements. Till now, we are talking about a logic to pick up pivot element. First one only as a pivot, last one only as a pivot, middle element only as a pivot, median of medians as a pivot. There is a logic for it. Okay, but now randomized quicksort. Randomly pick up an element as a pivot. Why should I always take first element as a pivot? I'll just close my eyes and pick one of the elements as a pivot. Randomized. Randomly pick up. Why only always middle one? Why only always the last one? Why only a special logic is needed to pick up a random, to pick up an element? Just randomly pick up one element, take that as a pivot, do the process. This is called randomized quicksort. Right. How about the time complexity? See, when I pick up randomly, any guarantee that it will go to the middle place? No. It can obviously go to the extreme place. We are interested in the worst case. When it is worst case, we will always think in the worst possible way, right? Randomly I picked up, but it is occupying the extreme place only, which means time complexity of randomized quicksort is also n square. Okay, so worst case is definitely n square. But that doesn't always happen, right? Okay, every time picking up randomly picked up one is going to worst case. If we assume, yes, always it is coming like that only, it is going to the extreme only. Yes, that's why we are saying worst case is n square. But there is something called expected worst case. Expected worst case is calculated based on the statistics. Okay, randomly we picked up. What is the possibility that it will go to which place? So some statistical conditions are used, and when they analyze, it's not going to the, of course there is one such case where it can go to n square, but need not always go to n square. In most of the cases, it is reaching to n log n. But when the question is just the worst case, it is n square only. Just close your eyes and say it is n square only. Because there is one particular case like that. Randomly I picked up, every time it is giving me extreme element only. So what can we do? That's why worst case is n square only. But when you repeat this process of doing, there are so many other input orders, right? So if I take that and calculate the expected worst case, it mostly reaching to, in most of the cases it is coming to n log n. So expected worst case time complexity is n log n. But if you just strictly talk about worst case, yes, it is n square only, like any other logic of picking up the pivot element. Only in case of MM rule, median of medians, it is mostly close to the exact middle case. That's why we are getting n log n as the time complexity. Right? So that is about Quicksort. Let me just give you one small concept. This is Horner's rule. So the question is like this. There is a polynomial with a variable x, polynomial in x. It is like this, a0, a1 into x, a2 into x square, a3 into x cube, for example. This is a polynomial of degree 3. a1, a2, a3 are constants. X is a variable. So if I give a value for x, you will substitute and get the answer. Okay. If so, if I give a value for x and ask you to evaluate this polynomial, how many multiplications you will perform? How many multiplications? Here there are no multiplications, so 0. 0 multiplications here. Here you will substitute x value and do 1 multiplication. Here you will do a2 into x, which means 2 multiplications. Here there will be 3 multiplications. Total 6 multiplications. To evaluate a polynomial of degree 3, you are performing 6 multiplications. Like this, if I have a polynomial of n, degree n, an x power n. So 3, 4 and so on up to n multiplications. You will perform all those multiplications. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus and so on up to n. Sum of n natural numbers, n into n plus 1 by 2, n into n square. So theta of n square. So these many multiplications you will perform normally if you do. Okay, because you are doing it by term evaluation. This is one term, this is another term. So in this process, you are performing n square, approximately n square multiplications. But this is not needed. We can reduce the number of multiplications by using Horner's rule. How do we do that? P of x is a0, a1x, a2x square, a3x cube. a0 is as it is. Among them, I am keeping x outside, which means common. a1 plus, again x common, a2 plus. Here I am left with a3x. Is this equal to this or not? Let us test. a0, a1 into x, okay, x into x square into a2, a2x square, x square into a3x, a3x cube, equal, right? So every time I have taken x common. How many number of multiplications are there and where do I start actually? Obviously I will start from here. I have only one variable into which I will do this multiplication result. Okay, here is a 1 multiplication. That result I will add with a2, that is an addition. I am calculating multiplications only. Okay, this is an addition, and that result I will multiply with x. That is second multiplication. That result is added to a1, and that result is multiplied with x again. This is one more multiplication. and that is added to A naught. So total number of multiplications are only 3. Previously, when I have a polynomial of degree 3, I have to perform 6 multiplication, but in Horner's rule, I did only with 3 multiplications. Even if I have up to an x power n, I will continue this process of taking expound. You can do with just n number of multiplications. You don't need n square multiplication. See, this is a degree 3 polynomial. I could do only 3 multiplications. Okay. Similarly, when I have a polynomial of degree n, just n multiplications are enough to evaluate a polynomial of degree n. This is Horner's rule. Okay. There are gate questions twice on this point. And sometimes, see, this is just about a multiplication. If they ask for the arithmetic operations, addition is also an arithmetic operation. You need to count additions also. Similarly, if two terms are missed out, for example, x power 4 is also there, but they missed out ax and ax cube. Two terms are not there in the polynomial. Then you should take an advantage of that so that the arithmetic operations can be reduced. Okay, we'll see when the question comes. This is Horner's. You just need to see the question if they are asking for multiplications only or arithmetic operations. If the question is arithmetic operations, you should consider additions also. Yes, so that finished divide and conquer. Let us solve the gate questions. Please access the Google Drive link that I gave you. The file number is 10. File number is 10. DC sorting hashing. 10 underscore DC divide and conquer. Sorting hashing. File number 10. Can one of you copy the Google Drive link to the chat box so that everybody can access? Everybody has the file? Divide and conquer. First question. Let P be a quicksort program to sort the numbers in ascending order. So the question is about quicksort. Let T1 and T2 be the time taken by the program for the inputs. The inputs are like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the array. Second array is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time taken by this one is T1, this is T2. T1 and T2 for these arrays respectively. Which of the following holds? What is the relation between T1 and T2? T1 equal to T2, T1 greater than T2, T1 less than T2. T1 is equal to T2 plus 5 log 5. What is the answer? Quicksort. These are the arrays. Time taken by this array is T1, by that array is T2. What is the relation between these two? As I said, quicksort leads to worst case in both array ascending and array descending cases, because the pivot that you picked up will go and occupy the extreme place. Okay? General logic is first element or last element. Okay? So it will go and occupy one of the extreme places. That's why quicksort will lead to worst case even if the array is in ascending order or in descending order. So the time taken by this is also worst, that is also worst, both are same. So T1 is equal to T2. If the question is about the number of comparisons also, the same. Number of comparisons are N1 here, N2 there. N1 equal to N2. because both are worst cases. Ascending as well as descending, both are worst. Zigzag is better than this. Second question. The recurrence relation that arises in a relation with the complexity of binary search. Binary search relation, you don't even have to see the options. In binary search, okay, we are calculating the middle element. Either it will be in the first half or in the second half. Only one half is done. Constant number of operations. So T of n is equal to only one half T of n by 2 plus some constant amount of operations. So T of n equal to T of n by 2 plus C or plus K. So here the answer is A. T of n is T of n by 2 plus K. Third question. Merge sort uses divide and conquer strategy, heuristic search, backtracking, greedy approach. Merge sort uses which algorithm technique? That's why I've given you what are the problems that are solved by using which algorithm technique. So it is divide and conquer strategy. Answer is A. Fourth question. For merging two sorted lists of size m and n into a sorted list of size n plus n. Okay. Sizes m, n should be merged into one with size m plus n. What is the question? For merging two sorted lists of sizes m and n into a sorted list of size m plus n, we require comparisons of, how many comparisons are needed? Option A. Option A says big O of m. Option B says big O of n. C, big O of m plus n. D, big O of log m plus log n, which means log of mn. That is the meaning. What is the answer? Big O notation is given, which means worst case. In the worst case, while merging these two, these are sorted already. M files, M number of elements are sorted, N number of elements are sorted individually. Now we are merging them into one file into sorted order. Worst case number of comparisons or time complexity is big O of. Exact number of comparisons are m plus n minus 1. But in terms of big O notation, there is no importance for minus 1. That's why it is big O of m plus n only. Big O of m plus n. Next question. Fifth question. Quicksort is run on two inputs shown below to sort in ascending order. First input is 1, 2, 3 up to n, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to n, ascending order. Second input is n, n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, and so on, 3, 2, 1. So second one is in descending order, first one is in ascending order. Let C1 and C2 be the number of comparisons made for the inputs 1 and 2 respectively. Then the relation between C1 and C2. First elements are 1, 2, 3 and so on 5. Second input is n minus and so on n. Second input is n minus 1, n minus 2 and so on 3, 2, 1. Number of comparisons here are n1. This is C1 and C2. What is the relation between these two in a quicksort? As you know, quicksort will lead to worst case in both ascending as well as descending cases. So the time complexity and the number of comparisons in both of them will be same, and that too both are worst cases. Question number 6. An array of n elements is given where n is an even number. The maximum as well as the minimum of these n numbers need to be determined. So what is the question? The question is about finding max and min of an array. The first problem that we discussed in divide and conquer. Which of the following is true about the number of comparisons needed? Option A says at least 2n minus c comparisons. B says at most 1.5n minus 2 comparisons. C says at least n log n to the base 2 comparisons. D, none of the above. What is the answer? To find max and min of an array, the number of comparisons are 3n by 2 minus 2. That 3 by 2, 3n by 2, that 3 by 2 can be written as 1.5. 1.5n minus 2 comparisons are enough to find max and min of an array. Question number 7. Consider the quicksort algorithm. Suppose there is a procedure to find a pivot element which splits the array into two sublists, each of which contains at least 1/5 of the elements. Please read the question carefully. Consider a quicksort algorithm. Suppose there is a procedure to find a pivot element which splits the array into two sublists. Obviously, pivot will divide that into two sublists or two subarrays, in which each contains at least 1/5 of the elements. Each of those arrays will contain at least 1/5 of the element, which means the pivot element is not going to the extreme. It is going to such a place where each part will have at least 1/5 of the elements. Let Tn be the number of comparisons required to sort n elements, then the recurrence relation is given. Tn is the number of comparisons needed. Number of comparisons required to sort elements. Let me explain the question. For example, the total number of elements are 100. 100 elements are there. We are picking up such a pivot element. There is a logic, it seems. The pivot element will definitely go to that place where each sublist will have at least 1/5 of n. What is 1/5 of 100? 20. Which means each array has at least 20 elements. For example, this array has at least 20. Obviously, the other one has 79, approximately 80 elements. To that position, pivot element will go. This is the worst thing that can happen. Better than that is having 30 elements here and 70 elements here. This is also, each part has at least 1/5 of the elements. 1/5 means 20. Both of them has at least 20 elements. The next best is 40. 40 and up. This is 60. This subarray has 40, that has 60. The next one is 50-50. 50-50. This is best thing that can happen. Two equal halves. Then this is 60-40. First one is 60, next one is 40. The next one is 70-30. Last one is again 80-20. That's all. That's all, because each part should have at least 1/5 of the elements. So, one of the array, worst thing can happen is one of the array can have 20 or more than that. 20 or more. 20 or more. Cannot be less than 20, which means each part, if the first part has 1/5 of the elements, obviously the other part will have 4/5 of the elements. If this is the worst thing that can happen. Remaining all are better than this. Definitely better than that. Because instead of pivot moving to almost extreme, it is moving to the middle. This is exactly middle. Again, it is moving towards that, but at least it will stop here. That's all. It cannot go to the extreme. Each part has at least 20 elements, one-fifth of the elements. So if I have to write what is the number of comparisons needed, they are less than or equal to, because you said at least one-fifth. It can be this case also, which means the number of comparisons are less in those cases. The worst thing can happen is this one, this case, 20 and 8. Okay, so that the number of comparisons needed for this one-fifth of the elements, plus the number of comparisons needed for 4/5 of the elements. So the total number of comparisons needed are less than or equal to comparisons needed for this one-fifth of the elements and 4/5 of the elements. Of course, the pivot going to that place is obviously taking n time. So this is the total number of comparisons or time complexity. Recurrence relation for time complexity. Okay. In this case, T of n is equal to this. In this case, T of n is slightly better than this. Which means time is less. That's why I'm saying less than or equal to. It is exactly equal to in this case and this case. The time taken is less. That's why all these cases are less time compared to this one. That's why I said less than or equal to. If you observe the options, they are given with less than or equal to, at least then you will understand that yes, we need to write less than or equal to, because they said at least one-fifth of the elements. Which means all these cases are also possible, but these are all best cases compared to this one. And this is the worst thing that can happen. So pivot will occupy such a place where each sublist has minimum of one-fifth elements. If one has one-fifth, the other one will have four-fifth. Eighth question. In quicksort, for sorting n elements, n by 4th smallest element is selected as a pivot using the Grove and time algorithm. What is the worst case time complexity of the quicksort? So in quicksort, we understand that selecting the pivot is changing the time complexity of quicksort. So they said in this algorithm, they are selecting such a pivot element which is n by 4th smallest of all. If there are n number of elements, I am picking up n by 4th smallest element, which means that after running the partition algorithm, that element will occupy such a place where one part is definitely n by 4, the other one is 3n by 4. Because I have selected n by 4th smallest. 100 elements, I am selecting 25 because that is the n by 4th smallest element. I am selecting 25 so that 25 will occupy this position, so that in one part I have n by 4 elements, the other part has 3n by 4 elements. Every time the same logic. So we are selecting a particular smallest element, that is n by 4th smallest element. Obviously that will occupy n by 4th place among the array. Okay, so the array is in two parts. One part is n by 4, the other one is 3n by 4. What is the time complexity? The recurrence relation is T of n by 4 plus T of 3n by 4. That picking up the logic is taking n time that they have given. Obviously, taking that and keeping it will take n time. So it is Cn. So this is the recurrence relation. What is the time complexity of this? There is an extension to Master's theorem and it looks like this. T of n is T of alpha n plus T of 1 minus alpha n plus Cn, where Alpha is a fraction. Fraction means 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4 like that. And this is 1 minus 1. If this is 1 by 3, this is 1 minus 1 by 3, that is 2 by 3. If this is 1 by 4, this is 3n by 4. This is 1 by 5, this is 4n by 5. You see, all these instructions are like that only, all these recurrence relations. So for such recurrence relations, the time complexity is theta of n log n, extension of Master's theorem. Okay, so all these recurrence relations will come to that pattern. So the time complexity is n log n. It's not exactly half, n by 4th, not n by 2. The pivot is occupying n by 4th place, but it is not worst, it is moving towards west. That's why we say approximately same as n log n. Next question. 9th question. A list of n strings, each of length n, is sorted into lexicographic order. Lexicographic order means dictionary order. If the first two characters are same, we sort on second character. If they are also same, third character. This is dictionary order or lexicographic order. Using the merge sort algorithm. So we are using a merge sort algorithm to sort n strings, not n numbers. N strings. String length is also n. The worst case running time of this is, we are using merge sort. What is the time complexity? N log n. But that is for n numbers, n integers. N integers. Okay. See, in that, for example, this is an element, this is an element. If this is a number, this is a number, to merge these two into one list, one comparison is enough. This is a number, this is a number. Merging them will need only one comparison because which is smaller, which is greater, that's all. But now I am talking about a string. I want to merge these two strings. This is NAVATHA. This is NAVATHB. I want to merge these two strings into one sorted array. Whichever is smaller, that I want to copy first. Whichever is smaller. That is merging. If they were integers, one comparison is enough to copy the smallest one first. But these are strings of length n. First character compared same, second character compared same, third same, fourth same. Nth character is the difference. Then just to find which is a small string, you are doing n comparisons. It is not like integer. If it was an integer, one comparison is enough to know which is small. But because it's a string of length n comparisons are needed to know which is smallest. Okay? So it is not just n log n. Now that 1 has become n. That's why it is n into n log n. This is the time complexity for strings. So that is n square log n. If it was integers, merge sort needs only n log n. But because they are of strings of length n, it's not one comparison that is done, it is n comparisons. That's why n into n log n. So it is n square log n. Any doubts? 10th question. Let P be a quick sort program to sort n numbers in ascending order using the first element as a pivot. They have given the logic. First element as a pivot. Quick sort algorithm. Let T1 and T2 be the number of comparisons made by the program P on the inputs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The number of comparisons are T1. The second input is 4, 1, 5, 3, 2. Zigzag order. This is ascending order, that is zigzag order. So the comparisons of time is T2 there. What is the relation between which of the following holds? A, T1 equal to 5, T2 is T1, so B is T1 less than T2, C, T1 greater than T2, D, T1 equal to T2. Tell me whether the array is in ascending order or exactly descending order, they are worst cases, which means more time is taken or more number of comparisons are taken. Instead of that, zigzag order is better because it is lesser than that worst case, less than that worst case. So comparisons are also less or the time is also less. So T2 is less than T1 because T1 is worst case time. Ascending is worst case or descending is worst case, but zigzag is better than the worst. So T2 is less than T1 or T1 is greater than T2. How about 11th question? Question number 11. The minimum number of comparisons required to find minimum and maximum of 100 numbers. So the number of elements are 100. We are interested in finding maximum and minimum of an array. You know the formula. 3n by 2 minus 2 is the best thing that you can do by using divide and conquer. So substitute. 100 is substituted. 148. Simplify. 148 comparisons are needed to find max and min of an array of size 100. Next one. Suppose PQRST are sorted sequences having the lengths are given respectively. What is the meaning? 12th question. PQRST are sorted sequences. That is the meaning. So these are all sorted arrays. The number of elements in P are 20, 24, 30, 35, 50. So these many number of elements are there in P which are sorted. 24 elements are there in Q which are sorted. Sorted. So I have to merge them into one single file. Okay, or one single array. See, they are to be merged into a single sequence or single array by merging together two sequences at a time. You need to pick up only two files at a time and merge them. Continue the process until you get a one final file which has all these elements in sorted order. So the number of comparisons that will be needed in the worst case by the optimal algorithm. So you need to follow, while merging this, you need to follow an optimal algorithm, which means optimal merging. But you need to calculate worst case number of comparisons. Though you follow the optimal algorithm, still the worst case number of comparisons are how many? This is the question. So if you have to merge them into one single file, but you need to take only two files at a time, what is the optimal way of merging? You should pick up those two files which have less number of records. Okay, what are the less two? These two. I will merge them. So this file will have 44 records. But in this merging, what are the worst case number of comparisons possible? Because the question was worst case number of comparisons. While merging these two, the worst case number of comparisons are only 43 because m plus n minus 1 are the worst case comparisons. Total number of records are 44. All of them will be present here. But worst case comparisons are m plus n minus 1. Done. So now you ignore these two files. Among them, again optimal merging. Pick up the next least two. Yes, these are the next least two. Number of records are 65, but worst case comparisons are 64. Okay, next two least files. These two are also ignored. I have only three files. Which two? 44 and 50. Total 94 records will be there, 94 elements. Worst case comparisons in that merging process, 93. Finally, you have only these two files. Total 159 records. Worst case comparisons in that merging, 158. M plus n minus 2. He is asking for the total in this entire process worst case number of comparisons. So on the whole, not the last one. In this whole process, what are the total number of worst cases? Worst case comparisons. Okay? Yes. 7, 15, 18. $358. Total 358 worst case number of comparisons in this entire process. So the questions are like this. There is a wording maybe that you may get confused there. You need to follow an optimal algorithm, but we are interested in the worst case comparisons. Though you followed the best algorithm, still there is a possibility of getting worst case number of comparisons. That is the question. Don't get confused, okay? Generally, how we understand is, okay, we are interested in the worst case number of comparison, so we will pick up the largest two files because that is the exact reverse way to get the worst case, right? So that's how you go, but that is not the question. Question is, you should follow optimal algorithm, which means pick up the least two files, but in that process, what are the worst case number of comparisons? That is the question. Do not pick up the largest two files for merging. That is not the question. If they do not mention you should follow optimal algorithm, you just need the worst case worst case number of comparison, then you can pick up the largest two because that will lead to worst case number of comparisons. The question is, you should follow the best algorithm, optimal algorithm, but still in that process, worst case number of comparisons. Next one. Question number 13. You have an array of n elements. Suppose you implement a quick sort by always choosing the central element of the array as a pivot. Central means the one that is present in the middle for now. In that array, currently whichever is in the middle, that I am picking up. The central element means the one present in the middle. That I am picking up as a pivot. Any guarantee that will occupy the middle place? No, definitely it can go and sit in the extreme place. I have shown you an example. I kept 99 in the middle, but that will go and occupy almost, or I can keep even 100 in the middle. That 100 will go and occupy the extreme place. Correct? So, then the tightest upper bound for the worst case performance. So obviously it can go to the extreme place. So the worst case is again n square, big O of n square. Yeah. 14th question. Which one of the following is the recurrence equation for the worst case time complexity of the Quicksort algorithm? In the recurrence equation given, C is a constant. Okay, so what is the worst case recurrence relation? Please see. They are asking for worst case recurrence relation. Is it the option A, because T of n equal to 2 times T of n by 2, which means it is dividing it into exact equal halves, but that is not the worst case. Option A is wrong. How about option C? 2 times T of n minus 2. Oh, that side also n minus 2 elements, this side also n minus 2 elements. Not possible. C is wrong. D. T of n equal to T of n by 2 plus Cn. Only one half. How about the other part? If this is n by 2, which means I'm solving only one half, what is the other half? It is not half, right, if it is worst case. Now you go to option B. T of n is T of n minus 1 plus T of 1 plus Cn. T of 1 or T of 0, there is only one element meaning, that is a meaning. Even if it is one element or 0 elements, it is constant amount of time, so you can ignore T of 1 or T of 0. Yes, it is T of n minus 1 plus Cn is the worst case time complexity recurrence relation. Answer is B. Let us see 16 and 17 first. 16th question. Match the algorithms with their time complexities. Towers of Hanoi, binary search, heap sort, addition of two n by n matrices. Tell me binary search time complexity. Binary search, we are solving only one half. T of n is T of n by 2 plus C. Log n. Binary search time complexity is log n. So Q is matched to 4. How about addition of two n by n matrices? If you have n by n matrices, what is the time complexity of addition? One for loop for rows, one for loop for columns. So n square. N square is the time complexity for addition. S is matched with 1. How about heap sort? I'll discuss sorting techniques next week. So heap sort will take n log n time. Heap sort is n log n. How about towers of Hanoi? It is 2 power n. If you remember, we have written the recurrence relation for towers of Hanoi. If you remember, disks. I said T of n is 2 times T of n minus 1 plus 1. If you remember, there is a gate question to write the recurrence relation for towers of Hanoi, and we solved it in asymptotic notations. Decrease and counter case, A is 2, which is greater than 1. So T of n is equal to big O of n power d into A power n by b. Big O of n power d is 0. A is 2, 2 power n. N power 0 is 1, that's why it is 2 power n. We solved it. So time complexity of towers of Hanoi is 2 power n. Seventeenth, the minimum number of arithmetic operations required to evaluate a polynomial p of x is x power 5, x cube, x plus 5. Which means x power 4 term is missed out, x square term is missed out. For a given value of x using a temporary variable, minimum number of arithmetic operations. See the question carefully. Minimum number of arithmetic, which means additions also needs to be included. Also, you should take advantage of missing terms. What is p of x? X power 5, 4x cube, 6x plus 5. Okay. Let me rewrite this. 5 plus 6x plus 4x cube plus x power 5. From this I will take x common, so that it is 6 plus. Here, because the term of x square and x power 4 are missed out, why should I take only x common? I will take x square common. X into x square, x cube. So only 4 I will write. Already x cube is here, so I will write only x square here. Finished. Now it is same as this one. Now you see the number of multiplications. X into x, only one multiplication. This is addition. This bracket is one multiplication. This x square, x into x is one more multiplication. This is addition. And again this bracket is one multiplication. So the number of multiplications are 1, 2, 3, 4. Additions are 5, 6, 7. So only 7 arithmetic operations are needed to evaluate this polynomial. Otherwise, because it's a polynomial of degree 5, you will say it is 5 multiplications. No, because 2 terms are missed out, we have taken the advantage of that. So that only 4 multiplications are needed. So arithmetic operations are 7. Answer is 7. Because 3 additions are also there. Now question number 15, last question. Assume that a merge-sort algorithm in the worst case takes 30 seconds for an input size of 64. N is 64, number of elements, input size is 64. The time taken is 30 seconds. For a merge-sort, of course, merge-sort, irrespective of the order of the elements, time complexity is n log. Which of the following most closely approximates the maximum input size of a problem that can be solved in 6 minutes? See, if 30 seconds are given, the input size, we can sort 64 elements by using merge-sort. Now the question is, if you are given 6 minutes, how many number of elements you can sort by using the same algorithm, same computer, everything is same. If you are given more time, obviously you can solve more number of elements, but what is that n that you can sort? See, the time taken t of n is theta of n log n, you know that. Theta is nothing but some constant into n log n, that is the meaning. N is number of elements. This is time taken. Time taken is 30 seconds. K is as it is. N is 64. 64 into log 64. If you want, you can simplify. This is 64 in constant into 64 into what is log 64? 64 is 2 power 6. That 6 will come from log 2 to the base 2. Log 2 to the base 2 is 1. So it is 6. Because 64 is 2 power 6. That 6 will come from. 64 is log 2 power 6. Log 64. Okay. The 6 will come from log 2 to the base 2 is 1. That's why it is 6. Log 64 is 6. Okay, this is 1. But I am looking for this one. 6 minutes time. So the time given is 6 minutes. It doesn't mean you will write 6. Here I have written seconds. So here also you need to write seconds. 6 into 60. Total seconds. Because this is in seconds, I will keep this also in seconds. Is some constant. Because it is the same computer, everything is same. Constant remains the same. Which n log n? We need to find this n. If this is the time, what is the n? Second equation. Either by using this, you find out k and substitute here. Or if you want to avoid k, I will say 1 by 2. First equation by second equation. 30 by 6 into 60 is equal to k into 64 into 6 by k into n log n. K cancelled. 30, 60 twice. This n log n will come here. This 6 into 2 will go there. and this is as it is, 64 into 6. You just need to simplify this. Keep everything in terms of 2. This is 2 into 3, correct? 6 is 2 into 3. This is just 2. This is 2 power 6. This is 2 into 3. So, how many 2's? 2, second, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 power 9 into 3 into 3, 9. Okay. Just see that n log n is equal to 2 power 9 into 9. What is the meaning? What is n now? If my n is 2 power 9, what is log n? Log 2 power 9 is definitely 9. So n into log n is equal to this, means n is 2 power 9, no doubt. Because log 2 power 9 is 9. Matched. So n is 2 power 9, that is 512. So in 6 minutes time, by using the same merge sort, you can sort 512 elements. That's all. Okay, so it is given that 64 elements can be sorted in 30 seconds. In 6 minutes, how many elements can be sorted? By using the same MEDSORT algorithm. So MEDSORT will take n log n, whatever may be the input. That's why this question is possible on MEDSORT. So n log n, which is time taken is 30 seconds, is always equal to n into log n. So some constant into n into log n. The same time is 6 minutes, which is 6 into 60 seconds, k into n log n. Now that n you need to find. First equation is there, second equation is there. To avoid k, you can say 1 by 2, or from the first equation you get k value and substitute in the second one. Anything is same. We just simplify. And n value is 2 power 9, which is 5. That's all. So all the gate questions are also completed for divide and conquer. We have solved all the problems. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Next week we will be solving sortings and hashing. All sorting techniques and hashing.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, once explain 9th problem, ma'am.
9th question. Okay. Lexicographic order. Okay. Yeah, this is about merge sort, right? In merge sort, this is element 5, this is element 7. Individually they are sorted. If I have to merge these two files into one single sorted array, I have to do a comparison between these two elements. Whichever is smaller, I will copy that first. So to decide whether 5 is smaller or 7 is smaller, I need to perform a comparison between these two. How many comparisons? Only one comparison is enough. Whether 5 is small or 7 is small. It is like if a of I is less than a of j. Just one comparison. Whichever is smaller, that is copied first. So, in case of an integer, which is smaller, which element is smaller needs only one comparison. But what we are solving in the gate question is, this is an element only. This is one element. This is another element. But this element is nothing but a string here. NAVATHA is a string of length 7. This is also of length 7. NAVATHB. I want to merge these two into one single sorted array. Okay, which of course it needs a comparison. Whichever is smaller among them, that will be copied first. What is small string? What is a bigger string? Lexicographic order, right? So I will do a comparison between n, both are same. So I will compare A, same, V, same, A, same, T, same, H, same, A, B. Yes, there is a difference. Now I understood, yes, in the dictionary order, this is a small string, this is a big string. So this one is copied first. if it was just integers, one comparison was enough to copy. Okay, to copy the smallest one, to identify the smallest one. But in case of string of length n, I had to perform n comparisons. Just to copy the smallest one, I had to perform n comparisons. There it was 1 into n log n. But here, where you were saying 1 there, here it is n, which is small. It needs n comparisons. So, n into n log n. Because n log n is anyway the time complexity that you cannot avoid. But there with 1, 1, 1 is enough. That's why it is 1 into n log n. Here, which is smaller, needs n comparisons. That's why it is n into n log n. That's why it is n square log n.
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Yeah. Any more questions? No doubts, right? Next week we'll discuss sortings and hashing.